have you seen my ratchet set? What are you doing under there?
Oh man, the car and I don't know, tire and whatever. Ah, dang it, man. Looks like it's gonna be another one of those dirty job days on the ranch.
Howdy, and welcome to the Bar SC Ranch, where you will experience our journey of running a family business, caring for animals, and doing life together. Subscribe now and be inspired here at the Bar SC.
All right, well, another one of those days on the ranch. We got tires, we got tables, we got logs. Oh my. We're gonna go check out and take care of some business. Come along with us. Hey, all right, so here we are at the Bar SC, and what we're working on today, a couple different jobs. One is rearranging all the tables and benches. So we had a wedding this last weekend, and one of the perks about having a wedding here is you can rent tables and benches for 150 people. So we had tables and benches spread out. We had quite a few out on the lawn. That's where the wedding, the reception tends to happen. We took them off the slab because that's usually where the dancing happens. But then this weekend we have quite a few friends and families coming in to gather. And one thing we like to do is use the concrete slab as our dining area. So we're gonna now set out a bunch of tables and benches out on the slab. We bring out the barbecues. So we now have to turn the slab back over to our weekend dining, from a dance floor to weekend dining and the lawn. Now we clear that because that's a great spot this weekend for friends and family when they're here. It's a great sports lawn, so it's a great place for them to gather and hang out and play games. So anyhow, tables and benches today, range fit.
Hi, I'm Colton, and today we'll be talking about how to change a flat tire. So this morning we got up and came outside and realized that we had a flat on our car. So we had to gather up all the tools, and we need 4 tools for changing the flat tire. So that will include a tire iron to take off and put back on your lug nuts on your car tire. Obviously you need a spare tire, and a jack to lift up the car, and an assistant to help lift up the car. So the first thing we have to do is take off, this is like a hubcap, right? So we just had to unscrew all of these bolts here. They're plastic. But you take this off and you actually get down to the real lug nuts. See, old trucks don't have these things, so I like to stick to them. But anyway, so once you take that off, you'll be able to see all 6 lug nuts. All right, and then get your tire iron. See what one fits onto your lug nuts. I think this one might be the one. There we go. Okay, so we're going to start with this top right one over here. and I'm going to turn on this as hard as I can until it pops. Okay. So this one is spinning now, and I can spin it with my fingers, and that's all I need to do. I just needed to get it broken until I can spin it with my fingers. Okay? Now I'm going to break this bottom left one over here. So we're going to go in kind of a star pattern, right? So if I get this one broken, and this one broken, it can actually start, since this isn't jacked up, it can start to lean sideways and come off on the top brackets, or I guess the threads up over here. You can start to tilt sideways. So I want to go in a star pattern so it doesn't do that. Okay. So the car isn't jacked up right now, so it's actually on the wheel. And the reason for that is if it was jacked up and I'm trying to take these lug nuts off, the tire will actually spin. And I can try as hard as I want to, and it'll just keep spinning. So I need to keep the car on the ground so it doesn't spin while I try to take off the lug nuts.
All right, well, now that we got our spare tire off, which was quite the ordeal, check out YouTube on how to get your spare tire off your Suburban. We're going to go and jack up the Suburban. Now, it's really important when you jack up your car that you don't put the jack on a piece of plastic, on your muffler, pipe, exhaust system, anything that's, any part of the undercarriage of the car that's really fragile, that's delicate, that's actually a working part of the car. So you want to find the frame, right, a part of the frame, a solid piece. You want to get as close to the tire as you can, but you also don't want to be right underneath the tire to where you can't put the new tire on. All right, so I want to be a little bit further away from the tire and find a good solid spot. So I'm going to crawl under, make sure I got a good solid spot. I might knock on it. You know, if it sounds like that, probably not a good idea to jack up. You want to find something that's going to be solid, say like the metal on my bumper versus the tail light. So let me crawl under and see what we got, because I actually haven't jacked this car up before. This is the first time, so let me see what we got. So coming in with the jack, I'm finding a low spot near the tire, a solid spot on the frame, just near the tire that's set down low. The jack only lifts up so high. Something to note is when your tire is flat, you think that you only have to jack up the car a little bit to get your flat tire off, which is true. But oftentimes what you forget is the new tire that's completely aired out needs more space than your flat tire. So I'm going to find a spot right here. I got part of the frame right here sitting down low, right inside the tire. The closer I am to the tire, also right, so I'm lifting up the tire and the frame together. All right, so this is a good little spot. So I need to not just get the bulge out, but I need to get the tire up off the ground. Have a little bit of clearance, right, for my new tire. All right, that looks good.
All right, so now that I've got my lug nuts off, I will be able to just pull the tire off like that. Get rid of this. And go ahead and put this tire on. So when putting it back on, you can see that this side of my tire is, or I guess the rim is further out and it's shallower. This one is a lot deeper. So the deeper side is going to go on the inside. My shallower side is going to stay on the outside. And you can also see this is where you fill up your tire, and that should be on the outside, so you can access that whenever needed. Alright, so now I just lift up on this, about centered, right there. And push it as far back as you can. Alright, just like that. And then, like I said earlier, if I put the lug nuts on the top and then I let go, see how it falls this way? So if I tighten these up as tight as I can go, and I try to push this flat up against the hub, it won't actually go. So if I tighten it up, I'll be able to push as hard as I can, and it might even strip some of these bolts here. So I'm going to put this one on, and then I'm going to put this one on here. And just enough that I can tighten it with my fingers. Okay, I'm going to push on it, tighten it up, and then when I let go, it shouldn't pop back out as much. I'm going to push on the top, tighten that up, go ahead and go for this one, push that in into the hub. There we go. Go ahead and do this one. Alright, and then if you can see, the first nut that I put on, I put all the way up to the rim. And now since I put on my other ones and pushed it up and tightened them, this one's already a lot further away from the rim than it was when I first put it on. So I can go ahead and tighten that. That's why it's really important to do these in a star pattern. Okay? Now I'll grab my tire iron. Make sure I remember what one this fits on. Okay. So I'm going to remember this is the one I'm going to start with. Okay. I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to tighten it just a little bit. And tighten this one just a little bit more. Right, and I can go pretty far now. But I'm not going to tighten it as far as I can because this is still up off the ground. Alright, and then before we tighten them all the way, we're going to drop the car back onto the tire, and then we can tighten them up. Alright, so now once again we are tightening our lug nuts. It's very important to make sure that our lug nuts are all the way tightened. Okay, so I'm putting a lot of pressure into these. And the reason for that is if they're not tight enough and you're driving, 60, 70 miles an hour on the freeway, and these get too loose and they start to come off, your tire can come off and you'll start grinding your hub, and then you're going to have to buy a whole new tire and a hub. And that's not going to be very good. So make sure that these are all tightened. So I'm doing it in the star pattern again. Okay, tightening these up as tight as I can go. So I've made a full round. I'm going to do it again just to be extra cautious. Okay. Okay. It's pretty tight to me. I think this is going to be able to stay on even on the freeway.
Alright, well howdy, here we are in the woodshed. Alright, so this is where we make and store our firewood. So we've got pine wood and oak. Oak is our barbecuing wood, right? So oak is great for when we're doing our oak barbecue on Saturday nights here at the ranch with our guests. Makes really, really good meat when you're cooking over oak. We also don't have a heater in our house. We have a wood burning stove, and oak is great for that because it's a really slow burn, really hot, slow burn kind of wood. Pine, this is what we got, a big stack of pine over here. That's awesome for our campfire. I mean, who doesn't love sitting around the campfire that smells like the forest, right? So we like using the pine wood around the campfire. It burns nice and warm. It's got a nice smell to it. So two main sources of firewood for the different experiences around the ranch. What we have is, this is one of our $1 million tools right here. Thankfully it didn't cost $1 million, but it's worth $1 million because this will save your back. All right, so this is our hydraulic log splitter. Works incredibly well. We'll get the wood chopped, we'll lay it in the log splitter, and then with the hydraulics, we'll this arm will come down and just split the wood. We'll split it into a couple of pieces. It's an awesome tool, but it is a dangerous tool. All right, so when you're splitting wood, a couple things. We've got eyes and ears on. All right, so protecting your eyes from pieces of wood that might fly and splinter and hit you. Keeping your ears on, of course. This sucker is really loud. All right, so anytime you're working around heavy equipment, you always want to have ear protection and eye protection. Also, too, when you're working this, it's really important that you keep your hands clear. There's a nice lever here that you can use for the hydraulics to push the arm down, split the wood, and pull it back out. All right, you want to put, the only place your hand should be really is on the lever. You don't want to keep your hands on the wood and get them crushed as the log is being pressed. So, important safety measure there. Also, too, when you're working wood, hard wood, and you press down, if you press down too hard and fast, the wood could split and pieces could come flying off of either side. So we also, too, try to stand behind the firing line. All right, it's very important where you stand when you're chopping this wood as well. But it's a great two-person job. One person is going to load the wood, one can work the arm, and then as we make the wood, we'll throw it back and stack it and add to our pile here. So let's get chopping. Hey, thanks for checking out another Dirty Jobs episode. There's a lot of odd jobs, dirty jobs, random jobs to do around the ranch on a regular basis. Sometimes they're not as fun to tackle, but when you got a partner, when you got a buddy to go after them, it's always better when you got a partner. So, appreciate your help today, Colt, and we had a good time. Thanks for watching.
If you enjoyed this video, we'd love to hear from you. Like and subscribe and leave comments about what you might like to see in future videos. We'll see ya back on the ranch.